Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Soy Mariano García y junto con todo el equipo de Uniservitate desde Buenos Aires, Argentina, le damos la bienvenida y les agradecemos por ser parte del lanzamiento de la colección Uniservitate. Para un mejor desarrollo del evento, quiero decirles dos consignas bien claras, que en la parte inferior de su pantalla de Zoom van a poder designar el idioma con el cual pueden seleccionar sus idiomas con el cual puedan escuchar. Como segundo consigna que tengamos en cuenta, el chat estará abierto, disponible para que ustedes puedan aportar, realizar consultas. El equipo de Uniservitate estará respondiendo a cada uno de sus aportes, agradecimientos o consultas que nos quieran realizar durante todo el desarrollo del evento. Para nosotros es una alegría enorme compartir con ustedes y que sean parte de este gran evento de lanzamiento del proyecto de la colección Uniservitate, que es una obra digital de acceso gratuito y que fue escrita por varios destacados autores de todo el mundo en torno a la pedagogía del aprendizaje de servicio en la educación superior. Para poder conocer un poco más y adentrarnos a este gran evento de lanzamiento, queremos saber y vamos entonces a escuchar a quien nos va a también compartir la expectativa de esta gran contribución que desde el programa Uniservitate queremos hacer a todas las universidades católicas del mundo y también a todo el ámbito de la pedagogía del aprendizaje-servicio. Por eso me permito presentar a María Nieves Tapia, quien es fundadora y directora de ACLAIS, Centro Latinoamericano de Aprendizaje y Servicio Solidario. Profesora de Historia. Se desempeñó como docente en escuelas secundarias, la Universidad de Buenos Aires, la Universidad Católica y Flaxo. Entre 1997 y 2010 inició y coordinó los programas de educación solidaria del Ministerio de Educación de Argentina. Ha dictado centenares de cursos y conferencias en los 5 continentes y es autora de numerosos libros y artículos. Ha sido reconocida con varios premios internacionales y nacionales y es miembro fundador de ICLC, Asociación Internacional de Investigadores en Aprendizaje Servicio y Servicio Comunitario. En el 2019 fue designada miembro de la Academy of Community Engagement Scholarships. Es un placer compartirles este espacio para que podamos escuchar a María Nieves Tapia. Querida Nieves, a tu exposición.
Thank you so much, Mariano Garcia, our collaborator from the Uniservitate team in Buenos Aires. Thank you for that presentation. Welcome you all. Thank you for being in this meeting. For all of us that are part of the global community of Uniservitate, this is a day of celebration. I'm going to share right now a presentation to accompany this moment of celebration because we are launching our first collection of digital works, the Uniservitate Collection. For those of you that are joining this meeting for the first time, well, with the video, we started introducing ourselves, but now going over this global map where we have a university in each continent, a Catholic university that acts as a hub, and also other universities and universities that are supported in the search for institutional policies of service learning. The first thing I would like to say is that when we started this program in September 2019, this map was a dream. It was not a reality. And 3 months later, when the pandemic broke out, at a point we even hesitated we were going to be able to achieve this network that we were proposing. And actually, almost 2 years after the beginning, we can say that today we are a global community. A community of Catholic universities, but open to the networks of higher education in each region all over the world. And we are part of, we are within that framework that is the Global Compact and education, the that is made up of goodwill people from all over the world, also with the International Federation of Catholic Universities, and also all the regional networks that promote the pedagogy of service learning. I mean, we are a global community, and we believe that knowledge has to be at the service of the others. It has to be at the service of the construction of a better world, at the service of a fairer, more equitable world. And that begins in the case of universities with the leadership of the youth, of the students that use their knowledge and that learn with the community and from the community what cannot be learned only from books. So in this context, the Uniservitate program already covers the 5 continents, 26 countries, 15 languages, and over 500,000 students and over 70,000 faculty members. We are in geographies where there are more than 5 religions and over 30 institutions that are built in this capillary network for the promotion of institutional policies for service learning. It's a program that we define as a polyedron, because sometimes when we speak of globalization and uniformity, it seems like we all wear the same and listen to the same music. But as Pope Francis say, we want a polyedric globalization where each cultural activity, each contribution can be in harmony and create a unity in diversity. That's why these concentric circles are not circles, but they have this polyedric shape. And they start with the darker part, that is the Catholic universities, but tries to expand and offer services also to all of higher education and all of the community of service learning all over the world, as Mariano said. And in that sense, we want to offer services in 3 levels. First, producing knowledge, expanding the theoretical baggage of the community of service learning as a whole. And also, and we hope this is original and unique, of the spirituality within the framework of service learning, the spiritual dimension of these service practices. And when we speak of spiritual, it is not only Catholic, it's an open spirituality to all individuals that try to have a connection with the transcendental in their spiritual insight. It goes beyond individual and purely competitive. We want to work by building a global network. That's already a reality, but we want it to grow and give visibility and communicate all this heritage of good news and of hope that is the service work of thousands of youth that is many times invisible in the media, or sometimes even by educators themselves. And finally, we have a specific level for institutional support with training resources and also funding so that they can implement their service learning policies. We are in the first phase. I hope it can last many years. And today we are at an event that is located at this level of production of knowledge, among many other activities that are developed or will be developed by Uniservitate. And that is the launching of this first collection of publications. As we want the program, in the program, we want these publications to focus on the service learning pedagogy in higher education. And I think this is an original collection because it combines voices and specialists from all over the world, not only in the Catholic world, but also it establishes a multicultural dialogue, multi-religious dialogue, as you will see later on if you explore in the page. This collection is a digital collection. It's free, and we wanted all this to be available for as many people as possible, whether faculty members, researchers, students, teachers in higher education, but also for all those that are interested not only in Catholic higher education, but in general in service learning, and all those that are interested in connecting education with social change. Initially, these are available in Spanish and English. They will be also available in French, and they can be downloaded for free in our page. Today, Maria Rosa is going to present the first volume, that is the minutes, the proceedings of the first global symposium held last year. This year, we hope to present two more. One that connects the pedagogy of service learning with the teachings and the doctrine of the Catholic Church, and the other one that speaks of spirituality and its relation with service learning. Then we hope we can publish a book for everybody with some notes and the history of service learning, so that each continent can present the landmarks of the expansion of service learning in their continents. And finally, a book for the institutionalization of service learning in Catholic higher education institutions. Finally, we are starting to circulate a draft global handbook on service learning that will collect the contributions of all the collection and then offer the vision of service learning with this polyedric approach. So for us, this is a celebration, because this network is being achieved. And I want to thank you all the writers, all the authors that are working for the production of these books, all the hubs in our network, all the universities that collaborate. And now I will pass the floor to Maria Rosa for her to present the first book of this collection, Uniservitate Collection. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Nieves. Muchas gracias, Nieves, por tu aporte. Vamos ahora a poder compartirles un poco más. Saben que el programa Uniservitate, entre tantas cosas, quiere promover la investigación, producir conocimiento en torno a la dimensión espiritual del aprendizaje-servicio y, en fin, ha realizado distintos eventos en este proceso que viene transitando el programa Uniservitate, y uno de esos eventos fue el primer simposio global que se pudo realizar en octubre de manera virtual el año pasado, en el 2020. Por eso queremos recordar, antes de presentar como volumen de las primeras actas de esta gran colección, hacer memoria agradecida de ese primer evento, de ese primer simposio que hemos realizado desde Buenos Aires, Argentina, para toda la región de todo el mundo.
Bienvenidos al primer simposio del programa Uniservitate. Este simposio tiene como objetivos iniciar un ciclo de encuentros en el marco del programa Uniservitate, aprendizaje a servicio en la educación superior católica.
Para nosotros es realmente una fiesta poder empezar este nuevo ciclo. Hoy el aprendizaje a servicio podríamos decir que es un movimiento educativo mundial. En este simposio estamos representados en los 5 continentes.
Como un espacio multicultural, global, plural, en torno a los aportes de la propuesta pedagógica del aprendizaje y servicio solidario a la educación integral de la educación superior.
What is most important, and therefore I'm so happy about the Universitate project, is that we have an intercultural and international perspective on service learning.
Para que haya aprendizaje de servicio necesitamos estar juntos, estudiantes, docentes y comunidad.
Part of my role actually involves providing amazing young people with opportunities to serve in different ways and accompanying them through their experience of service.
Young people have a need to be co-workers, protagonists, but they also need to be accompanied along the way.
Qué brillante vivir un clima sinodal, que es caminar juntos, hacer juntos algo. Haz para la comunidad, con la comunidad.
The experience of serving others transforms us for the better.
Formar en una disciplina, pero también formar en valores, formar en ciudadanía.
Es una de las estrategias de docencia y de aprendizaje que quizás puedan ayudar más a poder construir esta formación de un estudiante comprometido.
We at Porticos are convinced that Catholic universities have something to share and demonstrate as to the value of an integral education, which is a holistic education inspired by Christian anthropology.
More than ever, we are giving substance to what makes the university a university. The place where engagement translates into targeted action by the university community that shapes it in all its domains.
Service learning is an integral part of our commitment to community engagement.
The student at the center, community at the center, and at the same time, researchers which are action-oriented.
Through service learning, our students and faculty members partner with communities in creating solutions.
Aprendizaje servicio es un instrumento muy adecuado para materializar la pedagogía ignaciana que busca el desarrollo integral de la persona.
We know that participation in service learning helps to strengthen our students' understanding of serving other people.
It is geared in all its activities to serve the common good without forsaking the tangible and localized issues of the local, regional, and national communities.
Engaging students and faculty in promoting justice, spiritual enrichment, and team building.
Podríamos definir a la misión social de la universidad, al aprendizaje-servicio, como la forma de concretar, que todo lo que sabemos se concrete en alternativas, en soluciones.
Es momento de que las instituciones educativas puedan compartir todo su conocimiento al servicio de una sociedad más justa y más solidaria.
Porque como dice el Papa Francisco, no vamos a cambiar el mundo si no cambiamos la educación. Y con el aprendizaje al servicio, en eso estamos. Muchísimas gracias por su escucha.
Thank you for your attention.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a todos por acompañarnos en este espacio.
Esto es lo que vivimos.
This is what we lived a year ago, less than a year ago. That was in October 2020, where we, all these great experts and international colleagues participated in our first global symposium. And today, finally, we can start enjoying this first publication of the collection with the proceedings, the minutes of that symposium, so as we can continue breaking them down and focusing on those things that called our attention, that will help us continue with these reflections on the institutionalization of service learning, spirituality within projects. And that's why now we are going to have a quick overview of these contexts that we can find in these proceedings. And there you will find the welcoming remarks from Porticus, from the Catholic Higher Education through Richard Pross, the rector of the Catholic University of Portugal, the president of the International Federation of Catholic Universities. And you will also find these thematic axes where we're going to go over several of the topics that we are then going to develop in more detail in the next publications of this collection, like service learning as academic excellence and community engagement in higher education, reflections that we shared on why committed and supportive higher education today, about the identity and mission of Catholic higher education, and on one of the axes of our program, that is spirituality and service learning. As I was saying, I marked some quotes that I thought was interesting to share with you so that you can have an idea of what you're going to find in each of the sections. We start with a presentation that was made by Nieves in the Symposium, and there she went deeper into the social mission of higher education, and she described very briefly the roots of the social engagement of higher education that are as old as the university itself, and also basically to develop the foundations for service learning practices and its connection with the pillars of the university, that is teaching, research, outreach, but with an approach that allows us to see how service learning can be a tool to develop an authentic, comprehensive education that articulates faith and life with a spirituality, as she mentioned a few minutes ago, that is open to all beliefs and focused precisely on the specific love between siblings, regardless of any belief or religion. The first plenary session that we shared was focused on reflections on why and committed and solidarious higher education today. As you can see, these were international speakers from several countries and from several beliefs, because we thought it was important to see beyond the differences that we can have in each region or individually. What matters is how we can think of a higher education that is engaged and that serves a diverse university with a wide approach that tries to offer youth a varied and inclusive education. We also saw how from university, precisely, the objective is to promote a cross-sectional engagement from each line of action at university so that we can emphasize the institutional commitment that is, this should no longer be isolated ideas from teachers that want to promote service learning, but institutions should engage as a whole in this task. So through the different speakers, we were also able to see how it was important to cultivate the culture of the gift, to promote the leadership of service, university social responsibility, the different denominations that in each university are being done, in order to specifically cater for the needs of the community so as to achieve not only a better development of society, but also to meet the academic objectives of universities. In this sense, Daniele Stigliano also spoke about the importance of thinking of a university that is in contact with the university. And in his presentation, he presented the universe of meaning. And this is a project that they've been managing from scholars to build sense for the profession so as to offer this new university to the global community so that it's also open to all religions as the university that goes forth. In this first symposium, we also had the chance of receiving messages from the presidents of the universities that participate at the Uniservitate program as regional hubs. That's why we were able to listen to the vision of the various universities, how they are carrying out the proposal of service learning, and what it implies for each of these institutions to be a part of this network we are creating from Uniservitate. From the US, we had Father Dennis Schneider as the president of the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities from the United States. That are also part of the program to accompany us in this process of shared research. You will be able to find all these messages in the proceedings so that you can get to know how this global network was created. Another line we've been working on at the symposium had to do with reflections on service learning in the identity and mission of Catholic higher education. Here, we wanted to focus on higher education institutions that are Catholic institutions in order to see what were these particular features we had to take into account to accompany them through the program, knowing that each of them could provide from their identity and their charisma, so that from there determine, well, what are the implications that these diversity might contribute to the development of the community and to the strengthening of the institution. So we listened to Barbara McCrabb, and she gave us also the view of Cardinal Newman, Daniela Gargantini, that provided the vision from the Jesuit pedagogy, and we were able to identify how solidarity is an essential access for service, for care, that allows us to learn, as Father Vodka said, much more from those things we want to teach, that also help us dream with what each of us as teachers and our students can offer. After this shared or joint reflections, Father Selman said that this solidarity allowed us to think of the importance that the intrinsic motivation that is awoken by the participation in these initiatives also allows us to develop a spirituality that is transformational, not only of our society, but of our own individuality. And so we started going into the central topic of our research lines, that precisely is the spirituality within service learning projects. How this helps us think of our own meaning of life, to connect ourselves with the others, and how we want to live and develop our life in society. That's why Mercy, and we thank her for being here today as well, led us in this spiritual journey for the personal transformation, but also through service learning, to see how we could carry out this development of spirituality. But for that, also, she emphasized the importance of the faculty members to be the ones that lead the students along this journey of reflection, so that through this reflection, they can actually achieve a spiritual development that is genuine based on the experiences that they've been developing. These presentations were not so much from the symposium, but they were developed as part of the training that we developed at the Uniservitate program. We continue with these reflections about the spiritual dimension of service learning. And Nieves also told us that we have to consider that spirituality is very personal, that it can imply very different things for each of our students or for us as teachers, and that for that reason, higher education, Catholic higher education institutions had to promote and contribute to the spiritual growth of each of their members, but with a wide range of listening and attention. And Nieves said that when we talk of spirituality, we have to start from an idea of a Catholic education that wants to provide a comprehensive education that involves head, hands, and heart for all, regardless of whether our students are Buddhist, Muslims, or atheists, or Catholic. And therefore, for us, and considering this process of individual reflection and the importance of listening to each and everyone, we thought it was important to close the symposium that we held last year by listening also to the voice of the youth, so that among so many things, as Mariano Garcia reminded us, we would be able to stop, cancel our agendas, and listen carefully to the voice of the youth. And they shared, in this case, from Australia, Sebastian told us that he thinks whenever we meet authentically and lovely with somebody that is different from us, two things may happen. First, we meet the person of Christ in the other. And second, it's impossible not to learn something about ourselves along this process based on this interaction. And Oksana from Russia told us whether we truly need a higher education. Why do universities exist? What's the purpose of universities? To make money, to master a profession? However, after the experience of service learning that she now promotes herself at the university, she said that the holistic inversion and the implication of the youth in the process of updating the educational system, and more specifically through service learning, allows students to inspire themselves to be true leaders and protagonists of this change we want to see in society. And for us, it was essential to complete the voices of the youth with the rectors and presidents that have to think of how to institutionalize these proposals as specialists and experts from different areas, so that all together we can keep moving forward in this joint reflection. Because, as Mariano mentioned, service learning reminds us very well of the pedagogy of Master Jesus, the master that walked with the people, that listened to them, taught them, invited them, and proposed to them the dream of transforming their reality. And that dream of transforming reality is the dream we are still being called upon by Pope Francis, as Nieves mentioned before. We're not going to change the world if we don't change education. And with service learning, we know that, at least very humbly, each of us from our position, we are convinced that we can do both things. We can try to change the world and also change education. So now, to conclude this presentation, I would just like to thank all the team at Uniservitate, all the team at CLIES for their permanent support of porticos as well to carry out this project. Nieves, that is leading this collection, and all those that participated specifically in this first volume: Mónica Sosa Caballero, Jorge Blanco, Elena Mazat, Cintia Hernandez, Karina Marconi, with all the translations, Ariel Warframe that made the arts, so that we could share this collection of reflections that we hope you can multiply, enrich, and continue with them through the various publications we're going to launch. So thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Rosy. Qué lindas palabras, qué buen resumen de todo lo vivido en este tiempo y sobre todo ese gran primer evento del Simposio Global.
Thank you, Rosy, for all these wonderful remarks, all your work over the last few months, and all these contributions to the pedagogy of service learning. It is good to reflect on this. As Maria Rosa Tapia said, we invite you to visit the Uniservitate webpage, because I'm sure that some of you are already wondering what you have to do in order to see all this information. You go into this link that you see here, this URL, and you can surf the page. You can have access to this information. So whenever you want to launch a service learning project, we want you to consider us as the source of your projects, and we want you to be able to cite us. So you should be part of this process launched by Uniservitate. So we encourage you all to bookmark the Uniservitate webpage so that you can quickly access it and easily find us in your computers. And please keep on sharing, because after this event, many of you will be able to continue working with this big polyhedral family. if there was a first symposium, obviously there needs to be a second symposium. That is why I want to invite Dr. Andrés Perigale to take the floor. He's a member of the Uniservitate program, and together with other scholars, he is working to put together the second global symposium. Welcome, Andrés. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you, Mariano. It is a great pleasure for me to share with you this process, this project, and this network that starts to take shape with all these different shapes and colors and backgrounds. As Mariano said, I'm going to present here part of the work that we have been doing. This has to do with CLISE's long track record in building service learning networks in higher education institutions. So this program focuses on service learning, integral education, and transformational spirituality. That is the big heading. So this second symposium is going to be a gathering of partners who will address specific topics, men and women who will get together to share knowledge, and also from different places. Because as we usually know, at universities, we have serious publications and engagement going through different paths. So we want to bring everything together with joy, with life, everything that is reflected on a paper and can be shared with others. That is why we are organizing this second symposium with the Catholic University of Portugal. We are working to coordinate all the sessions of the symposium, and this is hard work, but it's also quite fruitful. And this is something new for this launching. The second Global Symposio Uniservitate website is already built, and the launching of this website is taking place today, now. And you can visit this website that contains information about the second symposium, talking about service learning, integral education, and transformative spirituality. As part of the honorable committee, we have representatives of Porticus, the Catholic universities and the program, the Catholic University of Portugal and CLISE. And we have a renowned scientific committee with a lot of well-known scholars, and we would like to thank all the members of the scientific committee for joining us. They contributed with the review of the papers, but also with the dissemination of information on this symposium. Today is July the 16th, and the deadline for paper submission will be July the 30th. So we still have 15 days ahead of us to receive papers. So we need to disseminate information about this event. We need to get people to participate, and we also need to receive papers. And here you can see the different buttons that you need to use to submit your papers in the different languages. And papers can be submitted in English, Spanish, English and French, and English and Portuguese. These are the 4 languages that can be used for the submission of papers. So the deadline is July the 30th. And on September the 15th, we will communicate the results of the assessment of all these papers, and then we will request that you make the full submission of the paper. So we invite you to disseminate information about this symposium that is done in collaboration with FIUC, with the Catholic University of Portugal, and this is coordinated by Claes and Porticus. We believe that this will be a very important event. And as Pope Francis says, we want to make higher education to bring heads, hearts, and hands together. Although this event focuses on spirituality and Uniservitate focuses on service learning in higher education, we are not just limited to Catholic institutions because we practice brotherhood, fraternity here. So by disseminating this event, we also invite you to help us clarify that this is not targeted only to Catholic institutions. The three pillars for this symposium: spirituality, service learning as a pathway to spirituality, service learning as a pathway to integral education, and service learning as a pathway to institutionalization, focus on the religious aspects of Catholic institutions, but it is not limited to that. We have received already 50 queries from different parts of the world, emails from different institutions that are interested in participating, and we are already receiving some abstracts in collaboration with the Catholic University of Portugal. And I want to thank in particular Alejandra Batista and Monica Sosa, who have been working on the website and the forms. So we invite you to disseminate information about the symposium and also to submit abstracts and papers. Sometimes in universities, when we need to produce papers, we need to bring together practice and theory. We need to bring together scholars and those who are working in the field. So we want the university to be a place of encounter, a meeting place. This information has already been posted in the chat, and you have an email address for questions. So we invite you all to join us in this effort. Thank you, Andres. Undoubtedly, I feel encouraged to participate. So I hope that you also receive this invitation to participate. We want you to participate. I think that Andres was quite clear. We can participate by sending abstracts and I think that all of us are capable of submitting papers. Many of you have been working in service learning for many years, and your contribution is going to be essential. But you can also participate as participants in the symposium, as attendees. And it is so important for us that you can share this information with others. As Andres said, this is a matter of coming together, listening to different views, different thoughts. This is our proposal in the Uniservitate program, in this polyhedral network that we have established to reflect and to share and to move forward. So once again, we invite you to visit our webpage, bookmark it, look at all the different sections of the program, but also at the sections that contain information about the symposium. What you should expect in that symposium is explained there. Since now we are talking about mutual understanding and mutual sharing of experiences and listening to one another and participating, we would like to listen to you now. So in the chat now we will post a link and we invite you to click on that link and leave us a message for the program, for this big family that we have established. A message because you felt inspired or you want to provide some words of support, of encouragement, and maybe some contributions, some reflections that come to your mind based on what we have shared with Maria Rosa, with Nieves, what you heard about the collection. So we are interested in knowing your thoughts, your views. This is like a log where we can keep all these phrases and these comments. So we would like to read you. So we have already posted the link in the chat part. So please click on that link and leave us a message, a phrase, a word, a thought, something that you that came to your mind while we were presenting this Uniservitate collection. Before moving on to the last part of this event, I would like to invite you to the 24th International Conference on Service Learning. The Kleist family wishes to invite you to this conference. As you can see, we have invitations for many events, but this will happen on the 25th, 26th, and 27th of August. From Buenos Aires, we are going to host the International Conference on Service Learning. We do this every year. This is organized by Kleist. The conference has taken place virtually last year and will be virtual this year too, to have participation from all parts of the world. We will have conferences, workshops, breakout sessions, and discussions. And you can go into Kleist Digital YouTube channel and you can subscribe to get all the news and information about this international conference. Probably many of you already know this because you have been participating for many years in this conference. This is a space for getting updated information and refresher training on service learning. We have students and faculty members from all education levels, members of community organizations and the civil society. It promotes an international exchange of ideas and experiences among schools, tertiary institutions, universities, and social organizations. All this information can be found in our website of Kleist. This is the webpage, seminario.kleist.org, and you can get the information there. It is free of charge, but you need to register so that you can participate in the sessions over the course of these 3 days. So you are all invited to join us for that conference. I'm sure that you are posting some messages in the Padlet, so it is quite pleasant to see all your messages. Thank you. Look at all the messages that we are receiving, all the contributions that you are sharing. We are going to read them today, so it's very nice to see all these messages. And the Padlet will keep the link open, but you can keep on sending messages. Okay, so with this, we formally conclude this big event, the presentation of this collection. And I'm sure that you are all eager to know when we will have some more news, but as Nieves said, we are going to share announcements of each of the publications, but we are already offering you this beautiful collection. Thanks for being there. Thank you for collaborating, for joining this big polyhedral family of service learning in higher education. So it is a pleasure for us to share this path with you. Thank you for being part of Uniservitate.